In this video, I'm going to show you how to make these beautiful giant paper flowers that you've probably been seeing all over people's event displays. And everything you need, you'll be able to get off of Amazon, so you won't have to stress yourself trying to find supplies. Of course, you don't have to make these, you can always buy them, but if you want to save yourself some money while being able to offer your clients something bespoke and totally different, then keep watching because I'm going to show you how. First, you'll need your crepe paper rolls. I got a multi-pack so I can make a bunch of different colors. You can order this complete kit below, but the only thing you really need from the box is 2 rolls of the same color crepe paper. Everything else just kind of came with it. I guess you can use it for other projects. When you order these rolls online, the length is going to be listed in centimeters, not inches. So it's going to be 25 centimeters by 250 centimeters, which is like 8.2 inches by 8.2 feet. Unroll your paper and measure out 8 inches across. Then use some type of straight edge to make sure it's 8 inches at the top and 8 inches at the bottom. Then you'll make your first cut right there, so your first piece will be 8 inches wide. And when you're done, you'll have 12 8-inch wide pieces in total. These are going to be your small interior petals. Don't forget to clean up any rough edges. You can use your first cut piece as a guide to size out your other 11 pieces. You can cut each piece out individually or just do like I did and fold them over and cut it at the end. If you did the fold over method, you're going to cut right here. And just do that on both sides. When you're done cutting, you'll have one small piece left over. Just go ahead and cut that off and put it to the side. You're going to use it later. Now it's time to cut your small petals. Take your 8-inch piece of paper, fold it in half, and right about where my scissor is, over here to the right, go ahead and start your cut to make it into sort of like a petal shape. You'll see what I mean. Then come down on the interior fold, almost like you're making a paper heart. Fold your remaining small pieces and then cut them the same way. Actually, fold all of them but one. You're going to leave one 8-inch piece to the side for later. Again, you can use your first cut petal as a sizing guide for your remaining folded pieces, but they don't all have to be like exactly the same size. You know, if you cut one a little bit different, that's fine because they're just going to look like real petals, which are never symmetric in nature, right? So it's okay if like each cut is a little bit different. It'll still turn out beautifully. Once you're done cutting your small petals, you're going to take out your second roll so you can start making your larger petals. Instead of 8 inches, these petals are going to be about 12 inches across. So just measure at the top and bottom, make sure it's 12 inches, and do the same method of folding and cutting until you have 12 pieces total. And cut off your extra piece at the end, just like with the smaller petals. And you're just going to repeat the same process by folding your 12-inch paper in half and cutting out a petal using this folded heart-shaped pattern. Once you have your petals folded, you're going to start loosening up the edges so they have that really like natural, delicate look that real roses have. And this is also going to help create these slight like curves and I don't know, just kind of movements in the edge of the petal that help it look more realistic. And you do this by gently pulling the edges between two of your fingers. You want to do it very gently because if you pull too hard, it will make a tear. And if you do get a tear, don't worry, just put some tape on it. It will be fine. I mean, it won't be perfect, but you can definitely just put some tape on it if you get a little tear. Don't even worry about it. And yeah, you're going to do this for all of your petals, big and small. To add more definition to your rose petals, you're going to want to roll the edges. This is going to make it look the most natural. And you can do this using anything. I'm using this little magic marker and I'm just taking it, kind of rolling it and just rubbing up and down so that it helps the paper to keep its shape, and then letting it go. And it should pretty much stick. And you know, if you don't get it right the first time, just keep practicing. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of pull the center, stretch the middle like that, so it can help it like curve out. If you think about a real rose petal, it has that natural curve, that inner curve, and then the edge typically like curls out. Oh, there goes that rip I was talking about, look. But yeah, so pulling on it will just help create those natural curves. And you see it's looking more and more like a petal and really taking on that shape. For my stem, I'm just using a PVC pipe, cutting it with this little handsaw, but you can use anything that has a similar shape. And I'll be using some paper to create the center ball of the flower. This is some old wrapping paper I had, but you can also use like newspaper flyers or some of those foam balls from the dollar store. Then you'll take your stem, which in my case is PVC, and just kind of wrap the paper ball around the stem. So this is going to look like a lollipop when you're finished, and this is going to be the base in which we'll build our flowers off of. And you can use a little tape just to secure the ball, make sure it doesn't unravel. Now we're going to cover this interior ball, and to do this, all you'll need is your glue gun and the leftover scraps from the pieces that you cut off of your petals earlier. So get those out of the trash because I think I forgot to tell you to save them, but use those and just glue them on until the top is entirely covered. Now you're going to take that extra 8-inch piece that you didn't cut and the leftover extra piece from the 12-inch, and you're going to use these to make your interior petals. You're going to cut them into a petal shape, but don't do the extra part to make them into a heart. This one you want the top to be like a rounded tip. And follow the same process of stretching it just like with the other petals. Because these two pieces are going to be the innermost part of your rose. So right where you have that curve from the area that you pulled apart, that's going to be like the main part that is kind of hugs the lollipop ball center of the rose. So just kind of put that on, see where it fits. Once you get a fit that you like, take your hot glue and apply it. It's gonna look a little weird at first, but that's okay, just trust the process. Once you get your first inner petal on, then you wanna put your second one on using that same process. Just put it right on the other side. Give it a dry fit, make sure you like the way it's positioned, and then attach it with your hot glue. Right around this point, it might look a little ugly or a little weird, but don't, just trust the process. Don't worry about it because this part is going to be completely covered by the end of the construction anyway. So yeah, it looks funny, but, but like don't stress about it because you won't even see it. And here I'm just putting a little tape around the bottom for some extra security. Okay, now it's time to start building out your rose petal by petal. You're going to start with your small 8-inch petals, stretch them out a little bit more, and then again, just kind of dry fit them over the main ball of the rose. See how it feels, see which form you like the most. Once you get something that you like, put on your hot glue and just go ahead and attach it. If you fold it on and you don't like it right away, you have like a couple of seconds to be able to pull it off without ripping the paper and reposition it. So yeah, if you need to, just feel free to do that as well. Roses can be very closed, like they're early in bloom, or very wide and open, after they've been bloomed for a while. So if you want a more tightly closed rose, you're going to put more glue on. You're going to bring the glue like further up the petal, because this is going to have it adhere to the middle a little bit more and have those rose petals just kind of be like tighter against each other. If you want the rose to be more wide and open, you'll put less glue at the top and you'll put more glue kind of at the bottom so the rest of the petal can fall out. It's not going to be like attached to the center of the ball. So if you're making multiple roses, I would suggest you have some that are tight together and earlier in bloom, and then you have some that are more loose and wide and open, so it looks more natural. You have like that variety in appearance. You want to layer the petals right after one another so that each petal covers the seam of the two petals underneath it. And you can re-roll your edges along the way, or you can wait and roll them at the end when you're finished. And just repeat this process until you finish using all of your smaller 8-inch petals. And it'll look something like this. If you have some imperfections, you could smooth out the edges using your thumb and the edge of a pair of scissors, but be careful because this can rip them too. When you're finished your small petals, you can move on to your larger petals, but you're going to do something a little bit different. So to add more structure and openness to the flower, you're going to take a stapler and just kind of staple the bottom in 3 areas, and this is going to give the petal these small folds, which will just help the petal position itself in a way where it looks more flower-like. And it's also going to make it easier for the paper to be glued to the bulb, because it shortens the surface area of the bottom part of the petal, so that it's just easier to attach, and you won't have to worry about like trying to fold it up yourself while you're gluing it on. Now once you have all your large petals stapled and structured, you're just going to take each one and give it like a little bit of a stretch. You see like right here in the middle, this is going to help kind of curve it out a little bit in the middle, and you're going to glue it onto your flower base the same way that you did your small petals. Yeah, just do a dry fit, position your petal on, see if you like the placement. Then add your glue and put your petal on. Now remember, you still have like a couple of seconds if you want to readjust the placement of the petal before the glue sticks too much. And as you can see with each petal, I'm kind of gently folding the edges back a little bit just so they'll have like a more open look. This particular flower is going to be like a more closed flower, but you'll see the other 2 flowers I made, they just vary. Like one is very open, one is in between, and this one is more closed. So I have some variety in the overall look of the flower set. And just remember as you add each petal to layer them, having the newer petal overlap over the previous petal. You don't want them side by side. You want the next petal to kind of cover like 1/4 of the petal underneath it or right next to it. And once you've added your last petal, you have your giant rose. And at this point, you can make some adjustments, spreading it out more or re-rolling the edges to have that extra curve. And this would be the final look. Now you can make an individual stand and let them be freestanding, or you can just stick them in your balloons like I did. The stand is a whole nother beast, so I didn't really get into that. I just put them in my garland. And I like the way it all came together. It flows very nicely. So you know what I'm gonna say. If you found this video helpful, or if it gave you any value, ideas, or inspiration, go ahead and give it a little like, a little thumbs up. And if you wanna see more, be sure to subscribe, because I always say this, but I promise I'm gonna have more videos coming at. I know, I need to work on it. But anyways, I appreciate you. And until the next one, peace.